Welcome to the Business Growth Podcast. Today I'm here with Candy, the founder of Vandeley Forensic Group. Welcome to the show, Candy.
Hi, Leonard. Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit more. What do you guys do exactly?
So, Vandeley Forensic Group I'm a certified fraud examiner. So, I do forensic work, forensic accounting work. I'm also a private investigator agency. I'm a private investigator. And so we don't do the private investigator stuff like delivering a subpoena or trailing somebody. That's not the work we do. We do this more to help uncover assets when there is an embezzlement and we're looking into losses. So that's what we do. That's my second company. My first company is Craymerica Business Solutions, and that is a boutique accounting firm that specializes in strategic oversight. And we act more on a controller level for in-house firms that maybe have outgrown their current needs, and they have either lending requirements or partner or investor requirements or audits, and they don't want to lose their team, but they need somebody with a stronger accounting background to help them get through an audit or to deal with a merger or to bring in investors. So we jump in and do the heavy lifting to get them where they need to go.
Okay, nice. So a couple of different things. And then which one of the businesses, when we spoke last, you said that you downgraded the team to about two people now?
Craymerica.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
Vandeley, about how many people work
Well,
there?
Vandelay is very new.
Okay.
And that is because truthfully, the only reason I opened a new company is I was granted a private investigator agency license by the state of Louisiana. And my insurance for Craymerica won't cover private investigator work. So I had to open a second company to get the insurance I needed. So Vandelay is brand new. It's my little baby. And currently it's me. And if I need to pull the team in, I
Yeah.
will.
Okay, cool, got it. And then so with the other business, then tell us a little bit what led to you like downsizing the team to kind of you and a couple of people.
My mental health. Just before I opened my own firm, I worked for private companies and I ran huge teams. I was used to, I mean, we're not talking thousands of people, but we're talking like um, between dozens of people to maybe 100 people. I would supervise and I was fine with that and I loved it and I loved growing a company and I got so much out of it. And I don't know why, but in my own firm, I don't know if it's just age, but I got burnt out in um, mentoring and teaching. And I just got to a point where I decided I just wanted to work with people that didn't need managers and that knew what they were doing. Not that you can't learn more, and I do work with my team, but they're grown-ups. I've got a CPA on staff. I've got another one who's going to be sitting for the CPA exam. They know what they're doing. They're brilliant. We do a lot of continuing education. We collaborate a lot. It's invigorating. It's exciting. It's not somebody answering a dumb question or asking a dumb question that you're like, wait a minute, don't you have a degree? Like,
Hmm.
I thought so, and I love these people. I feed off of them. It's so great. And I've just been so happy since I downsized team, clients, all sorts of things.
Okay, nice. And did you find like profitability was better as well with the downsizing of everything? Yeah.
Our profit margins went way up
Mm.
and our volume went up because what I found out was my lead people were spending half their day answering questions or picking up the pieces or redoing something or explaining things to people. So without that interference, they were able to just get their job done and focus on ways to uh, help the client, to streamline their workflows, to spend more time on education, going to conferences, to enhancing their knowledge and building things for the clients that would streamline and really make things efficient. So they were able to build amazing dashboards and just things so the clients could get their information as soon as they need it, because now they had time. They weren't babysitting other people.
Right. So you were making more money and you were more profitable.
Yeah.
Ah,
And all of our hours went way down.
yeah. With
So instead
less
of working,
clients.
oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah.
Nice. And that's awesome. And then so how did the transition look like with the downsizing? How did you go about that?
It was gradual. At our height, we were at 12 people, and we had made some changes, and they weren't all full time. I had some part timers, but just things weren't working out with some people. We were making some changes, and it kept going. I would say in 2023, we were at, let's see, we're at three now. I was at six. Us three people was more, I had been, I had kind of checked out of the business for personal reasons. I had to take care of my mom who got sick. And in checking out, the team kind of took over the business. My gosh, I thought I was good. They were rock stars. They completely transformed the whole company when I checked out. And when my mom finally passed, or not finally, but when she did pass, because it had been a long time I'd been in and out of the business, the team said to me, these three people are not getting, we can do their work, and they're not working. They're not getting it done. They're not getting it done to the level that you expect from us. And so we're constantly going back and looking at their stuff or answering their questions. And one of them was kind of like an intern, and there was nobody available to really help her. So she was just floundering, and she was a great person. I mean, I love her to death. I'm still friends with her and her family. I'm going to a wedding with them in January. But I knew we weren't able to provide the structure and learning that she needed. So I just said, look, let's get you into another company that has that capacity, because even though I have the time, I don't have it in me. It's just not something I want to do. And I hated saying that, but it was the truth. And the rest of the team was like, we're just not looking to teach somebody everything. They all have little kids. They were like, we just want to get our work done and play with our kids. Like, if we wanted to teach, one of them used to be a teacher. She was like, if I wanted to teach, I'd go back to teaching. I just want to do my job. So that was a friendly parting, but it was interesting. We let those three people go. We let a few clients go that were not really in alignment with what we were doing. And our business grew. The girls absorbed the work that was there, and because they were able to do it, and the way they're so efficient. They know how to streamline work. They were able to absorb all of that under them, and now they work between 20 to 30 hours a week. And they both have more than a full-time load that they take care of. But they've just got all these efficiencies built in, and they know the clients, they get things done, and they really focus on what the client needs, and making sure, because everybody has an in-house team, working with the in-house team to improve their skill set so that we're getting better data to work with to do our job.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff to unpack there. Firstly, let's go. That's really awesome that you said like you stepped away from the business and then you came back and it was even better than before. So how did
That
you
was
go?
humbling.
Yeah, how did you create a culture that allows something like that to happen while you're away? Because typically what you would expect is when the owner steps away, the business falls apart. So how did you go about creating something like that to have people take that responsibility and do those things?
Well, you're right. That is what happens. And that's what was happening with some of the team. They weren't doing their job. The other part of the team that had been with me a very long time. And I knew them. And also, I've already built out my succession plan. This is going to be their company. You know, if I die, there's already an insurance policy that pays off my estate and that buys the company from my estate and immediately transitions over to them. So they treat the company as their own, but they did that before we talked about this, which was why I did this succession plan, because they've always treated it as if it was their own. And I wanted to create a company that I would want to work for. I wanted to create a company that didn't do the things that used to piss me off when I worked for people, you know, that supported me, that encouraged me, that, you know, I applaud being independent, making decisions. I don't want anybody coming to me with questions, come to me with solutions or a conversation. Take chances. If you can make a mistake I haven't yet made, I will be impressed. So take some chances. And whatever mistake you make, chances are very good I've made it and I've already learned how to fix it. Mm-hmm. But come to me right away. Don't let me find out there's a problem. And they're very proactive about saying, hey, this situation came up. This is how I handled it. But now I'm sitting here thinking about it and I'm not sure if that was really correct. Let me explain what happened. And then either, you know, hey, no, right decision. Good job. Or no, we shouldn't have done that. So here's what I'm going to do to fix it. And let's talk about why it wasn't the right decision. Because I want to empower them. I want them to always feel like they can make decisions because they're so smart. I wouldn't have them. They're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And what they did to change things while I was out, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are really rock stars. That's why the clients love you. I mean, I loved what they did to my business when I had stepped out. But, you know, sometimes you're too close to it and they got to see it from a fresh perspective and make some changes.
Yeah, that definitely helps a lot when you're just so in the business. You don't notice inefficiencies because that's the way things have always been done. So having that fresh perspective can make a really big difference in how things are run and just questioning everything. I try to do that in my life as well, not just with running the business, but everything I do, I question, why do I do this? Why do I do that? What happens if I do this instead? And I test different things as well. So if I'm always gone to this gym, now I'm going to check out this other gym and see if I've always eaten breakfast. What happens if I test and I skip breakfast and I just have lunch? And yeah, it's really crazy. Some of the things that you just get into a routine of doing, but you never question why you do it.
Yeah, I remember, you know, I was working for a large company and people would come in and I'd say, there's only one really unacceptable answer, and that's because. If you ask why and anybody says because, you bring it to my attention. Because that is not an okay answer. I need to know why. Because chances are they don't know why. It's because that's what they told me, because that's how we do it. Well, why do you do it that way? I don't know. Well, that's not okay. You know, so I always encourage people to question things and ask and figure out why. And do you ever do personality tests?
Maybe a long time ago, yeah.
Okay, so I used to work for a company called Woodard, and they do coaching and education in the accounting industry. So I was a coach and a teacher, and I wrote content with them. But one of the big things they taught was about your personalities and testing for strengths and whatnot. And when I was teaching, I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to test my team. And I tested my team. And what I found out is I have one person that's a questioner. And well, it used to kind of annoy me that I would say, okay, guys, listen, this is what we're going to be doing. And she'd be like, well, I don't know why we would change what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. You know, and if I couldn't give her an answer that was satisfactory, she would just keep saying, well, can we go back to that? Because it's not making sense to me. And so even before I found out she was a questioner, I learned, do not present anything without knowing exactly why we're making this change, how it's going to benefit us, like what research. So it got me better at looking at things, but it also made me not annoyed. Now I so value that she is that way because she has prevented us from making bad decisions. And she has also pushed me to do uncomfortable things that really I just didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like dealing with it. And she will not stop unless I fix it or deal with it or address it. And she's just become so valuable with that thing that I thought was a fault and has now turned out to be one of the greatest features that she has.
Yeah, I imagine a questioner is kind of like when they were a kid, the kid that always asks, why is it like this? Why? And they keep just asking why?
Yeah. I'm like, oh, you must have been annoying as a kid, you know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but she's great. She's so good and just so good to, you know, if I have a question, if I go to her, she really helps me think it through and work it out. And there's no like levels of, yeah, maybe I have a final say, but it feels like we collaborate on things. It feels very much like a team effort on all that we do.
Yeah. And it's often really fascinating. The question that the person asks you tells you also a lot about them and a lot about how well they understand the problem. So like coach people on how to start an Amazon business, and then listening to some of the questions that they ask, often they don't understand the problem fully, and then as a result, the question that they're asking isn't the question they should be to solve the deep rooted problem that they need to be fixing. So it's always really fascinating.
Yeah.
And then so you said they implemented a lot of stuff as well, and you guys run a really just like streamlined business. Can you tell me a bit more about some of the things that you guys implemented that allows them to, what you said, 20, 30-hour weeks, that you have a lot of time? What are some of the things that you guys like implemented?
Well, they went through all of the software we had and they looked for redundancies. They looked at, did it make sense? Was it extra work? Because some of the software we had brought in were things, you know, I go to a conference, I'm like, oh, that looks cool, let's bring it in, but not really vetting it and not sure that it really made sense for us. And then some of them I had implemented by non-accounting people. So like an admin would implement some of our software. So it was implemented with their mindset, but not with an accountant's mindset. So maybe something that was inherently obvious for an accountant seemed like we probably should explain this because it seems confusing. And, you know, something that you could just say one word to an accountant, they turned into 20 steps. And the accountants were like, you know, it was almost insulting. They went through all of those things and said, this is crazy. You know, our proposal program, the way we do send things out, the way we communicate as a group. I'm going to give a plug for Anchor. Anchor is a software payment company, and they work with primarily service providers. They're wonderful. That has streamlined our business, and they've saved us a lot of money. And they also, which I didn't mention, they produce the podcast that I do, which is called Unbalanced. And it's about the hardships of being a business owner. And I do that with somebody named Sam Halburn. But Anchor, even before I was like working with them and using their product, they'd approach me about doing this podcast.
Oh,
And it just shows who they are as people. And I adore them, and they've done a lot for my business and saved me a lot of money. But with boundaries, I know everybody says, oh, well, you should only do things between these hours. We're 3 moms that have little children. So sometimes what's best for us to talk is not 9 to 5. And so we just have an open communication, You could shut it off if you don't want. Nobody expects you to answer. Like if I have a thought at 10 o'clock at night, because that's when it is quiet for me to sit and do something, you can shut your notifications off, but you could also get back to me. It's okay. Sometimes it's better for me to do something on the weekend than during the week because I want to go on a field trip. And so does my team. And we put our children first. We do kick-ass work. We hit our deadlines. We get everything done. But we do that so that we can be there for our children.
Yeah. So is that so Anchor pays you to run the podcast? So what's the agreement that you set up with them?
No, they just produce the podcast.
Like the editing and things.
Yeah, they do the whole thing. They do marketing. We have a producer. They use Riverside. We use Riverside.
Yeah.
So they help us get guests. They do the bookings. They schedule people. I mean, I just really have to show up and talk to somebody. It's really nice. I talk to them, I sign off, and then they have a whole production team that puts out the whole podcast.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Riverside's a really awesome software to produce the podcast. I've recently moved over to it. Previously, I was just using Zoom, and then as the podcast started growing, I just started leveling up everything else. So I'm pretty still getting used to it. I know we're starting to run out of time here, so let's finish on like what is on like next year for you guys. What are some of the things you're working on, or some of the goals, or anything that you're excited about next year that's happening for you guys?
Yeah, so I wrote a book this year. I kind of took this year off to regroup. I had been working and supporting my family since I was 16. I am now 57, and I realized I was tired and taking care of my mom. I felt like I just needed a break. So I took some time off. I did the private investigator. I wrote a book. I did a lot of other things just to figure out who I was outside of work. I'm looking forward to next year really getting Vandeley off the ground, getting the book out. It's with my editor right now, so it'll get published sometime in 26. And, continuing with Craymerica. I don't know. Just enjoying life.
Yeah. Nice. Well, congratulations on the book. I'm sure that would have been a big project as well. It's been great having you on the show. Where can people go to learn a little bit more about you and what you guys do?
So the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. That's pretty much the only place I live at these days. I do have my website, craymerica.solutions.com. All my companies are Seinfeld related. Craymerica is from Kramer, and we also have Vandeley is also from Seinfeld. But find me on LinkedIn.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Well, I'll include the links of those in the show notes below. I appreciate you coming on. You guys have been listening to the Business Growth Podcast. Until next time, keep growing.